We are here on the beach in Tofino and we're going to look at some paperwork. I've brought my bike and the bag and the paperwork. Okay, in these bags we have folders. We're going to look at these folders. The first folders we're going to look at is daily planning, finances, and travel and home and work planning. Okay, so every day I have a morning section of what to do, during the work and breaks, after work what to do, timing of messages today, this week, soon. I have a whole week plan with moons, sunrises and weather, and what to do this week, this month, the season, this year. And behind here we have an overlay of what's happening in town, my plans are, and the different times of what's happening in town on a weekly basis. Here we have a whole folder of things, including my Ayurveda food summaries list of what to purchase to eat. This is a daily morning routine session based on Ayurvedic studies, so Hatha Yoga, meditation, computer work, nature time, personal time, what to do, dinner time, evening meditation, and different potions that help in this work. I also, in here, this is a computer document, and I also have daily 1 hour what to work on, daily metaphysics exercises, weekly, monthly, seasonal, yearly, 3 years, decade, this life, next life, other lives, what to do. I have many other sections here. Let me just pull that out. So we also have kind of what to remember on a daily basis about what I'm doing. This is a summary of particular Ayurveda potions for fatigue, anxiety, insomnia. This is a summary map of everything I'm doing actually right now. Yeah, beginning on the foundations on a daily basis, Ayurveda, yoga, meditation, dowsing, kind of books I'm reading, the projects in town, the healing arts, what I align myself with, nature, and then ultimately artwork. And there's some other things in there that I don't necessarily talk about. This is a map of what I wish to do in life. This is a visualization of the kind of home I wish to have. And then out here there's computer work for today. You know, things like when I don't have internet on the big computer, when I have net on the iPhone, and stuff like that, different kinds of notes. And let me just close this folder. And then here we have the process of choice and significant personal consequences. So this is a decision folder. Let me go through this in detail now. Okay, so we have moved indoors because it began to rain, as much as I would like to be on the beach. Now we're going to explode this folder that we just began with. Process of choice and significant personal consequences. So it's a rough one, but here's the work. The process is A, create basic, ordinary, logical approach. B, co-create the questions. C, attune and decide and commit on the decision. D, seek guidance, kind of an inner work and outer work, you know, equivalent of praying 100% and working 100%, then letting it all go. Reasons for example, in this process, reasons for leaving Tofino and reasons for returning to Tofino in the next plans. So this is a kind of table of contents. So then we begin. This is already a beginning of what to do with my personal belongings here, you know, donate public, selling, leaving for people, lending someone storage, and taking with me, for example. But this is the A section, B section, C section, D, E and F. So A is the approaches, my dreams and aspirations on that, the questions I have about things in particular, decisions I'm making, all the questions, all the unknowns basically. There's a reason for this. Then I make the decisions. So this is what to initialize, actual plan layout right now, what to do next. Upon my return, I'm already planning upon return and what to do during the decision to travel. And this perhaps might be the most important rough section at the moment. Using the ordinary mind, using the heart, using soul speak with the higher self, confronting, collaborating with local healers, tuning into the spiritual field, using alternate modes of understanding, shamanic journeying, just connecting at a coffee shop, conversation. dowsing and divination, visualization and attunement, casting a spell, in the real sense, not in the sense of movies, listening to dreams, meditation, and all that goes with it. And then basically choosing one of these per day and allowing it to unfold, and that's it for this folder. The travel folder is pretty simple. It's basically rough work of homes and work in town and out of town, Tofino, what I wish my future room to look like and contain based on my years of experience in moving around. I've been living in about over 20 rooms in the last few years. Certain maps with local places of help in that field. Reasons for Tofino move all my notes, which most of which have been digitized. You know, reasons for leaving Toronto in the first place, for example. Home and work, as I browse and learn how to acquire home and work in a particular place, right? Maps and so on. That's it for this folder. This is my finances folder. It's called the flow of exchange interactions. It's pretty complex. Let's go through the main sections here. This is a plan of the upcoming week and a half, perhaps, with all my expenses and income plans. This is a basic financial treasury intelligence document listing all my current cash flow. This is a table of contents for the folder, and a financial plan, for example, for today, tomorrow, upcoming, which I've completed for the day. Now this folder has many sections. Let's go through the sections. This is a main section. This is an income section, how to approach income, all the different methods and thoughts I have on that. Expenses, actual expenses. This is a pretty thorough thing, which is daily expenses calculated for the year, so I know what to expect every day. This is my actual immediate debt repayment plan. A lot of has been crossed out, ideas for basic purchases that need to be done right away. This is actual costs per month on a daily basis, and exactly what I pay for rent, for example, including the water, hydro, teles, propane, garbage removal, etc. So all that is actually taken care of in terms of documentation. Then we have current aims in money, what I wish to do actually, and how I wish to obtain that. Accounts, so this is a running accounts list, so basically every time there's a transaction I post here, and then I categorize and I put in the most appropriate places in my accounting. Next we have sourcing ideas and how to approach ideas for monetary income. That's a list ongoing there. This is ideas section. We have the A ideas, my major ideas for life. It's pretty thick. Business ideas at the business I work at. Possible business ideas in Tofino itself. And B ideas. And then kind of rough idea list for continued ideas beyond that. So the A ideas is perhaps the most significant. It contains major ideas that I think are million-dollar ideas. Here, this is, for example, an app. Then there are a franchise of recreation centers, and so on. Now we're going to move on. Document summaries, financial document summaries. This is interesting because it contains, for example, terminology, high terminology of the finance world, and other fun things. All my thoughts and experiences in the stock exchange, for example, personal rules for lotto playing, a document that proves that all banks have been closed, etc. This is a list of things to spend money on, so I actually know exactly what I need, and so I don't ever just make up random things. There's a list, and as you can see, a lot of it's blank because I've purchased things. And then at the back, for example, I have a list of books to purchase, and things that have been recommended. And back here, there's deeper documents, green card lotto for the U.S. Work, for example, local employment work postings, my resumes, and copies of diplomas, for example. So that's about it for the finances folder. As an assistant manager of a rustic resort in Tofino, I was creating a guidebook on resort operations based on my experiences. This is a map of the work, and basically this is a map of what you see here. And so, as you can see, it's a map of inner computer things and outer printed things. And so we have, for example, a housekeeping document, a maintenance document, an office document, management document. And then here we have texts being worked on, management notes, things to do today, I'll show you in a moment, and computer work for today. And here this is a folder with online content management. For example, we have the website, TripAdvisor, Expedia, Booking.com, and other listings in there, so all that work related to that. For example, what might be interesting to note here is that each of these has a lot of information inside. Maintenance folder, for example, like all the folders, has a table of contents. Inside, for example, for a maintenance person, there is a completed deep clean list. There are images of things that need fixing inside the resort. And I show these to the maintenance personnel, and we take notes, and then we, based on that, we disperse the work for the day, and then they report back. And for example, the housekeeping document is also pretty thick. It's got many pages of things to do, mostly inventories, lists of how to approach servicing, duties throughout all times of the day, for example. And I also created one of these for the office. The office has 2 pages of table of contents, as you can see here, things to do. You know, how to welcome guests, you know, showing calendars, events, news, weather, surf, which has to be, for example, checked every day. You know, how to book technically on different websites, like TripAdvisor, how to use that on a deeper level, or for example, how to create passwords on a particular program on the office. This is a pretty deep document here. Management office, the responsibilities and codes of approach in the hierarchy. These are kind of deeper password lists, for example, checklists, and notes of disciplinary action. For the housekeeping and maintenance, for example. Management every day as assistant manager, I had a list of things to do every day, you know, on a weekly, monthly, and yearly kind of planning, and all the maps of things to do as it comes in. Computer work for the day, specifically computer work. Sometimes I was assigned to, you know, new website design going on there. These are texts, for example, the folders that we designed for every room. Every room has a folder with particular information about the resort, about what's in town, for example. Designing the text on that, and designing the folder itself, and getting information on that. So that's basically it for the guidebook. One final note on the guidebook is that no one's shown ever any interest in it, actually, and it's just sitting there, and I will compile it and make a nice little booklet to be included in the franchise operations of future relaxation centers that I wish to work with. These next 2 folders of folders contain many things. The orange folder, for example, contains these sections here. We have my personal life directions, physical signs, certain work, spiritual work, yoga work, shamanic work, Ayurvedic work, dreaming, 8 circuits, psychic work, dowsing, divination, extraterrestrial work, and personal notes. This is more of a creative folder. It contains vocals practice, like lyrics, for example, and song lists, all my music work and ideas that can be put into documents. Writing, all sorts of writing that I continue to do, like more creative writing, and online plan, my whole virtual realm plan. Let's go into these with a little detail. So again, the orange folder is filled with these sections. Now I've expanded some of these out here onto the floor. So for example, there's a section of 8 circuits, and this is about the work of Timothy Leary and shamanic arts and contemporary New Age material on various topics to do with consciousness expansion. But this is one section, and as you can see, there's about pretty thorough mapping of notes, investigations to do with this line of work. Next we have the yellow folders, which have to do with free energy work and extraterrestrial disclosure work, and also consciousness expansion. And then we have the blue folders, which feature Ayurveda. Now in the yellow folders we have many sections as well. For example, at first I always start with a map of what's inside the folder and all this work. And current documents, things I'm working on, which is actually a major presentation on the disclosure movements in the world. All my notes on that, which have been going on for about 2 years now. So all those plans, these are deeper sections here with subsections. This is how I like to organize things, you know, with yellow stickies. My work with CE5 in Virginia 2013, email contacts, background notes, you know, current work, things to do right away, you know, action plan, active involvement. A lot of this is now on my computer. Let's close that. So in Ayurveda, this is a general map of the whole summary of studies that I did over the winter of this beautiful knowledge and practical application in life that you can have through food, for example. You know, these different levels of mappings. For example, this took many weeks, and I studied through books and people in town and presentations and actually trying out live food. Now let's go to another section. This is, for example, divination, the art of dowsing. Here I have a pendulum and rods, a summary of the approach I use, and inside this folder I am ready with certain approaches. The one I chose to show here is a sequence list of how to dowse for a lost animal, a lost pet, and I have maps here in transparency paper over which I work you know, with pen and ink when I try to track an animal if it's most appropriate, for example, for the animal to be found by a person. That's another line of work. Here, back to the yellow folder, which also has all those sections that are listed at the front here. I took out the section that deals with vocals in my music practice. Just vocals, actually, in fact. And this one is a map of you know, bands and music that that inspire me to sing, and my singing practice in town here, lyrics, drawings, you know, also subsections here. So there's a lot going on here, mostly guitar tabs and the actual printed lyrics, and new ideas and new approaches for that as well. So that's it for these two folders. Standing on its own is the yellow stickies folder. And this is a few years of yellow stickies, actually, all in order. So this is just any thoughts, absolutely any thoughts on whatever topic and what happens over the years. I have many such binders. You know, another one might be, for example, a dream journal that I keep by the bed with different subsections there as well. You know, inside for different kinds of dreams and messages received. You know, it could be journeying, it could be poetry, and so on. So what happens with these notes is over the years I recognize patterns and categories, and then based on that I make decisions as well of what's important, what interests me, what kind of thoughts I have, and progress in life. So that's that separate folder. I started a top secret group of kids in Tofino called Tofino Horizon Kids, where we remain anonymous, but there's a lot of work happening there. Primarily dealing with fun things, both on the business side and on the artistic side. Here's some ideas for posters, you know, some information there. There's a whole website. And then the work and the categories there, you know, work, the writing, documents to edit, the healing arts, I mean, music and film. This is a creative section idea of the project, and all the ideas that we can work on together there, which is coming together slowly, and the business ideas go with that. Next we have three folders that deal with the healing arts I work with: quantum healing, hypnosis, and reconnective healing. And we begin here with the general map. And the general map is something I can look at to almost instantly remember and recall everything about the healing arts that I work with. And this can expand further, for example, into what how I present this to new healers that perhaps wish to know about the practice, how I present myself, all the information from experience that helps others understand the work. And for example, this is a map of everything that I have on the computer and online in terms of my work. Now here we have, for example, the next steps to take on my website, you know, in particular on the hypnosis section or the reconnection section, and notes of things to do. This, for example, is a CD that I can readily give to someone who's interested in the work. This is notes of local healers. Then we have the whole folder with reconnective healing. This is also a map of what's in the folder, what's on the computer, kind of the most important notes there. Obviously the certificate and notes from healing sessions that I take. And this is a section for the quantum healing hypnosis. Also a map of the work, and then, you know, a section called A, B, C, and then down there D. And these each, you know, probably 100 hours each of notes taken from experience of sessions on how to improve the next sessions, for example. I would make my own notes on notes, so that's part of the experience there. This, for example, is a section on how to write a report for the client after the work is done, and so on. There's a certificate out there. So it's a lot of work just to maintain the paperwork of the practice. And the few books I have with me mostly have to do with wonderful things. Here's one of my favorite, Eat, Taste, Heal, an Ayurvedic guidebook and cookbook for modern living. Some incredible stuff in here, a beautiful edition that I would recommend to anyone who wishes to begin living fully. And that's it for these documents and notes, literature, writing, and all these things on black and white.